In this video, I'm going to show you how you can turn your in-person event into 90 plus days of content that generates more leads and revenue for your business. And the way that I'm going to do that is by actually walking you through the content checklist that we take into all of our events that we do with our clients and partners. But up first, some context on who I am. My name is Andy Monroe, the co-founder of Bullish Events. At Bullish Events, we help online education businesses grow their communities and businesses with in-person events. By online education businesses, we mean educational creators, high-ticket coaches, info businesses, community owners. There's a lot of different names for it, but online education is a good way to capture the whole ecosystem. In total, we've generated over $10.7 million in direct revenue from in-person events for our clients and partners. We've had over 6,500 attendees come through our experiences, and we've maintained an average attendee satisfaction score of 4.75 out of 5. And you can come to bullishevents.com and check out some of these videos that we've recorded with our partners, as well as dive into some of our case studies of recent events that we have wrapped up, along with all their financials, the results, what went well, pictures, all that good stuff. But jumping back into the content checklist. So the first piece of content that is really good to capture at in-person events is attendee testimonials. There's a few reasons why attendee testimonials at events specifically are so effective. And the first reason is these are typically your best, most successful, and most engaged attendees that are coming to these events. So they're going to have the best stuff to talk about. And when they're at an event, they're fully immersed in your brand. They're talking to people. They're having a good time. They are at the peak state of being a part of your movement in your ecosystem. They're at the peak state. They're feeling the best they could ever feel, because when they go back home, they're going to leave the environment. They're going to leave the kind of bubble that you created with your event, and they're still going to provide good testimonials, but they're really going to get into it, and the emotion is going to pour out of them when they are delivering the testimonial at an event. And that's why attendee testimonials are so good to capture at an event. And also, like I said, these clients and these attendees are typically your best performing clients. So how often do you get to have all of your best performing clients, all of your most engaged clients, all in one place together in person? Pretty rare. So making the most of it and capturing testimonials from those attendees and clients is really important. You want to make sure to get formal and informal testimonials. It's interesting. We're seeing a trend right now towards authenticity and informal in terms of content, and that applies to testimonials as well. And I'll show you an example of what I mean by informal here in a second. But capturing both formal and informal to make them look really good, the polished ones that you can maybe put on your website or use in ads, as well as some informal ones to show that they're actually they're real. You're not telling them what to say. It's kind of a back and forth. We call it AGC, actually, attendee generated content. It's basically where you walk up to your attendees with a little handheld microphone and you talk to them about the experience, talk to them about what it's like to work with you, what it's like to attend the event, document their transformation. Doing that both formally and informally is a really good idea. Like I said, you want to document their transformation. You want to paint a clear picture of what has transformed in their lives, in their businesses, and in them as a person since joining your offer, your product, your service, whatever it is. Just documenting that transformation so that people can see the clear outcome that someone gets when they work with you. That's really important with testimonials. You want to capture questions specific to the event as well as broadly about your services. That way you can repurpose these testimonials for multiple things. You can use them to promote future events, but you can also use them to promote your current products and your future products. You can also use these testimonials as ads, organic content, and to put on your websites and social media. And just to show you a few examples. So first, the informal ones. I don't have the actual videos of these, but these are ones that we did with our partner, Tom, of CounterpartOS. A lot of the examples are going to be for Tom because we just did that with him. So a lot of this content is relevant and it's all very accessible on my computer. But this is me actually interviewing some of the attendees that were at this event. And this is what I mean by informal. It's literally just me, the attendees, just sitting there having a conversation about the event using a handheld microphone. Very informal. Here's another picture of another attendee that we did this with. But if you come back over here to Tom's website, and I'll also open up this Fun Launch website as well. If you go to Tom's website, you can see some of our more formal testimonials right here. So jumping around here, you can see it's much more, for some reason it's kind of lagging a little bit, but a lot more polished, looks pretty clean, very good quality. This is with another attendee. You can get the point. These are much more polished testimonials compared to these ones, which are the informal testimonials. But it shows authenticity. And also, some people get skeptical about giving them, telling people what to say, giving them a script, even using AI. This is much more believable. They're both believable, but this is, if you were to compare the two and see which one was verified to be more real than the other, it would probably be these authentic ones. So that's why we capture both. And then just to show you Fun Launch as well, we've done a lot of events at Fun Launch, and these are all these testimonials were captured at events. Actually, most of these were at the event that we did in Alaska. You can see how it's like nice and tropical outside. But these are some of the best testimonials we've ever captured, and it's because people were like fully immersed in the environment of the event, and they're at the peak state, like at this event horizon, and it just makes for a great testimonial. So that is the first content objective to capture at an event is testimonials. You also want to record all of the sessions. Just record as much as possible. Record everything if you can. Great for long form and short form content. So you can record the session, whether it's like 30 minutes, 60 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is. And then you can splice it up into long form and short form content that you can use as ads. You can use it organically on like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. And you can post a long form on YouTube as well. And just to give you a heads up for short form content, if you do any type of Q&A or laser coaching during your event, that is great for short form content. And using this content, you can also repackage it into a new offer. So let's say that you host an event, you capture all this really valuable content, you can create a new offer around it and sell it. You could give it away as a lead magnet. You could add it to a pre-existing offer. So if you want to just give it to your high ticket community or give it to your premium clients or just add value to whatever pre-existing offers you have, you can do that. Or you can use it as a bonus for future promotion. You can just give it away for free on your social media. There's so much stuff that you can do with this content. And because it's so valuable, it's going to generate a return regardless of what you do. To show you an example of how we repurpose some of that content, again, going back to Tom, because we just did Tom's event. This is a session or a video that we posted from one of his events where essentially it's just him doing his thing at an event, and we recorded it and it became a really good video, how to get out of the valley of despair as a founder. And for his channel, it's doing really well. It's bringing in leads. So this is an example of how you can repurpose your event content into long form content. You can do this for short form. You can do it for ads. You can do it for so much. So that's session recordings. And then pictures. Pictures are incredibly valuable because when you see a picture of somebody and they're hosting an event, they're speaking, they're facilitating, they're talking to other people, it just automatically associates them with trust, authority, authenticity, and they're somebody that should be listened to because they have people in a room that are listening to them. That's like the psychology behind event content. I'm not endorsing it, or I guess I kind of am because I run an events business, but it's just how we operate as humans. If we see somebody speaking on a stage or hosting an event, we assume that they have to have some credibility and some form of, legitimacy if they are able to host an event. So capturing pictures is great for ads. It's great for websites and social media. And like I said, event pictures create a ton of trust, authority, and social proof. And then go back to Tom's LinkedIn. We've been really using a lot of his pictures from his events for his LinkedIn profile. So going over to here, show posts, you can see a lot of his pictures. Like this is from an event that we just did. That's from an event. That's from an event. That's from an event. That's from an event. Event, event, event. You get the point. Event. This is from an event. So basically all of his content that he's posting on LinkedIn, all of his picture content is from an event. And this brings in a ton of leads into his ecosystem, which is really cool to see. And you can do that for Instagram. You can do it for X, like whatever platform you're on. You can just use these pictures that you capture from your events and just post it on the social media channels just to flood the ecosystem with that content. And then something that you can do as well, and we actually haven't done this yet, but we're throwing it on content checklists for future events, is podcast interviews. You can interview either your internal team. So if it's you and your co-founder and you're hosting an event, you guys can do a podcast together on site at the event. And you can also interview your best clients and actually do a podcast with them. And the reason this is different from a testimonial is very what a testimonial is. It's like, hey, doc, like talk to me about your transformation that you've experienced while working with us. How's the event? How's it all been? With a podcast, you kind of dive deeper into their story. They, extract some value. It's much more conversational. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you can kind of distinguish between a testimonial and a podcast, but you can crank out 3, 4, 5, 6 different podcast interviews at these events because again, you have so many people at one place at the same time. And then you can capture ads separately from the content that you capture up here. So if you actually want to capture ads specifically, it's really cool. I actually get a lot of these ads on Facebook of people doing this at their own events, but you can take ads like in the general session room. You can take ads in front of all the, like in front of all the people in their seats. You can take ads with attendees and like kind of incorporate them into the video or the pictures or whatever it is. So you can like dedicate a certain amount of time at your events to create ads, or you could just use any of this content and repurpose it into ads. And then the goal for, at least what our goal is for our events, and this is a good goal that you can have going into your in-person events as well, is we want to first of all generate 90 plus days of content. What does that actually mean? What's it look like? That looks like 12 long form videos. So that's basically one long form video per week, 36 short form videos. So that's 3 short form videos per week, 90 unique pictures. That's pretty on the low end. You can capture a lot of pictures at events, but that's like 90 unique different pictures that you can go post. If you were to go post 1 picture a day for 90 days, you wouldn't run out. And then ideally testimonials with every attendee, but that might not be realistic if your event is over 50 attendees. So just get as many as possible, like as many testimonials as possible. You cannot have too many. So just really hammer home the testimonials. You want to record every session so you can repurpose it into different content. And the quantity of ads, of course, depends on your needs. And to write this video home, content is one of the most valuable benefits of hosting in-person events. And there's genuinely a reality where if you hosted an in-person event for your business every 90 to 120 days, you wouldn't really have to do your own content aside for maybe filming content for current events or the occasional promotion or whatever it is. You can flood your entire ecosystem with event content and take a lot of the lift off of your shoulders and your team's shoulders by having to film content every single week, typically as you do when you run a creator-led, founder-led business. The content that you capture from the event is also incredibly valuable because, like I said, the trust, the authority, the legitimacy that it has for your brand and for you as a founder, it does so much for your credibility. And we've actually seen it really bring in a lot of leads and generate a lot more revenue for our clients that are repurposing their event content. And this is a cool way to keep your event continuing. It keeps the magic of your event alive far past the day that ends, and it can really transform the return on investment that you see from your in-person events. So that is how you can turn your in-person event into 90 days of content that generates more leads and revenue for your business. If you run your own events or you're looking to start hosting your own events, and this seems like a really cool thing that you want to add on, but you just don't really have the time or the resources to do it, we actually do this. This is a part of our offer at Bullish Events when we take over an event and we completely design it and manage it. We capture all the content, we repurpose the content, and we actually take care of the implementation of the content as well. So if that is something that you are interested in, click the link down below. We'd love to have a conversation with you and kind of walk you through how it works. If not, no worries at all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.